What? It, just got out of the pool. This is an Orion 06 powered by a 12-core SoC from CIX. And this is an Orange Pi 6, also powered by a 12-core SoC from CIX. So what's the difference? Well, according to Geekbench, not much, unless you squint a little on the multi-core performance. But look closely and you might notice the Orange Pi 6 is a bit smaller. It's also missing a PCI Express expansion slot, ATX power, and the ability to fit into any PC case made in the last 20 years. Did Orange Pi make a case? Okay, you'll be able to order a metal case filled with accurate holes. On the rear, there's dual 5GB Ether noodles, 2 USB 3, 2 USB 2, 2 Type-C, HDMI, and DisplayPort. On the belly, we get an SD card slot, E-key for the Wi-Fi and Bluetooth, and 2 M.2 slots powered by PCIe Gen 4. And this one comes with 16 gigabytes of low-power DDR5 that's hiding somewhere under the blower, and it's all powered by this 100-watt charger that weighs slightly less than the Pi 6. Right then, let's try out some Android, install some Linux, do an AI, and play a couple of games. Right after I install Windows 11. Oh, you're going to be loud, aren't you? There I was, minding my own business, snooping the official documents and resources when I came across this, a Windows 11 boot disk creation tool. It turns out there's a user manual and a link to a system image that you can only download using the Baidu desktop client. And Baidu requires a Chinese phone number to register. Great. So what about the official ARM image from Microsoft? Well, after some button mashing, we get this. Now, to the untrained eye, this may appear to be a normal Windows 11 installation, but I suspect it is indeed an error. Running Android requires the Android BIOS, and it's not that bad to install, man. Just drop it on a flash drive and figure out the drive RNG and the UEFI shell, and you're good to go. After that, write the Android image to an NVMe drive, pop it in slot number 1, and power on. And look at that, hyperactive icons. They hunger for touches. Now I could take a moment and just go ahead and set up the Wi-Fi, and I think this is the browser, so let's visit the site. We'll need an Orange Pi video just to fit the theme, and yeah, it's playing some 1080p YouTube. How about 4K? Oh god, this Android with a touchpad, it's cursed. But yeah, look at that, it's absolutely crushing it. And I was going to try out the old fork knife, but womp womp, don't care enough to fix it. What about 3DO Highmark? Well, the Orange Pi 6 is apparently too powerful for this test. The average FPS is maxed out. And yeah, I know it says 06. I wonder where they got that Android image. And you might be wondering about Open Harmony. Well, there are 12 penguins. It's clearly Android-based, and it's in Mandarin. And while I do plan to learn a bit of that, today is not that day. Now, one of the neat things about having UEFI is that you can install any distribution that supports ARM. And that's what I'm doing here with the Ubuntu Resolute development branch. Nothing special to be done, really. But until support for the 8160 is upstreamed, you're going to be missing out on niceties like hardware acceleration and sound. That is, unless you use a custom image. Like the Orion 06, the official image is based on Debian 12. It comes in 2 flavors. You got kernel 6.1 and one that boots. So we're going with that one, 6.6. Now this is a disk image, so you just write it to a flash drive or NVMe and just apply your electrons. Okay, quick health check. Ethernoodle is connected. NiPerf 3 is showing a 2.5 gig connection. And we're getting a little over 2.3 on the send and receive. Nice. Wi-Fi picks up the access point in the studio. No issues there, and there's my trusty Xbox controller. On the Bluetooths, time to check the digital audio out. We have left, and we have not left.
Front, right.
3 power modes to choose from, and K-Disk marks showing 1.6 gig on the read and 1.1 gig on the write on a little Gen 3 drive that I just had laying around for testing. And this is going to short circuit some of you, but the Pi 6 pulls 14 watts at the main, doing nothing. There it is, just existing. And that number jumps up to 30 under load because Big ARM goes burr. Just like the fan, the 1.1 BIOS update puts the fan idle here. And without a case wrapped around it, that's going to be annoying. Then when you wind it up. Yeah, you don't want to be in the same room. You just don't. This is a rough one. And a quick check under the hood shows video decoding is hardware accelerated in Chromium, so, we gotta do the thing, right? 1080p big buck bunny, and no drop frames, not a one to be had. And it's absolutely more the same at 4K, so you're gonna be able to watch all of the hoppitas that you can handle. But how about all the fish? All 500 of them, 60 FPS on a 1024 canvas. Can we do 1000 GL fishies? Yep. 5,000? Okay. 10,000's got to be pushing it, right? Nope. Huh. All right. 15,000 is just getting a bit silly. And there it goes. There it goes. How the mighty have fallen. But jokes aside, 49 fish per second is very impressive. Go try this on your desktop. Man, the NPU in the P6 has 28.8 tippy tops, and after just blindly punching in commands into a terminal, I think we can test them out. Starting with a 7-second audio file that I recorded and ran through the Whisper automatic speech recognition. The first run isn't using the NPU and just explodes a little over a minute into the run. Hitting it with the NPU completes in around 30 seconds, and if we peek at the output, hey look, there it is. We did an AI. What about face detection? Alright, not too bad. The model got 4 out of 7. Time for a real challenge. We got him. Moving on to object detection, we have a teddy bear and a person, followed by 4 additional person, and it looks like it's rolling the dice on a bench prediction, but I think it nailed it. And finally, hand pose estimation. Alright, you know what? That one's a bit tricky. How about, do you think the nose is throwing it off? No, nope. It's just cursed. And I had to go back and double check the manual because, yeah, despite the 60 gig download, no LLMs. Boo. Let's open this up with some Vulkan Quake 3 Arena using that Mali G720 Immortalis. At 1080p, we're seeing 1000 frames per second because guess what? That's the cap after you remove the cap. With the occasional dip into the 800s, and for comparison, a Rockchip 3588 is only going to be hitting about 400 FPS. How about a little Streets of Rage 4 using Box 64? Now normally I have Mango HUD open during these, but it's a bit busted on the Debian 12 image. However, you can see the Orange Pi 6 is absolutely crushing this at 1080p. And it's more of the same with Silksong, again running the x86 version through emulation, buzzing right along at 1080p without any hiccups. And something that threw me for a loop, RPCS3 Playstation 3 emulation. I've had a couple of games load to the title screen, but this is the first time I've managed to get in-game. This is wild. Performance, yeah, it's all over the place. But again, we're in-game, using the built-in graphics, not an external GPU. This is very cool. A year ago when the 06 came out, I said, neat, give it a year. And well, here we are. And now there's another. And they both rely on a fragile Debian 12 image. So old, there's a new one. At least with the 06, you can feed it a GPU and install something more modern, but that's not an option with the Pi 6 or the upcoming 06N. And here's where we're at a year later. Basic support has been upstreamed, GPU, VPU, display, ACPI, and full board bring up are still missing. And like the 06, the Pi 6 is still very much a development board. But there's still hope. A couple of absolute saints are working on getting these boards up and running with ARMBN. Kick them some coin if you're able, because both the 06 and the Pi 6 are glorified tech demos without proper software. And when that happens, I'll finally be able to review these boards and just do a gang of other projects with them. Also, Orange Pi, please send me a case so I have something to put this in. Now, I do dig the smaller form factor, and having dual NVMe is pretty neat. Now, if you could only cram Oculink in here, man, that would be wild. My only real worry is the fan and how difficult tracking down replacement's going to be. But there we go. Orange Pi 6, a fun-sized 06, links to everything in the video description. And if you made it this far, toss a thumb to your Witcher. It really helps the channel. And I'm just getting started with this critter, so anything you want me to try, let me know in the comments, and I'll try to make that happen. But that's going to do it for this one, so I want you to get out there and make something awesome.